Alright, welcome. So we're going to jump right into it. Today we're looking at the Facebook brand kit that includes the Facebook cover template as well as the Facebook profile template. We're going to just show you all how to take your basic design skills and use free platforms like Facebook to help establish the continuity for your brand, especially if you're just getting started. So the first thing we want to do is open up that Facebook cover template. We're going to get started there. So when you open it up, you see we have two layers here. I tried to make everything as simple as possible to avoid any kind of confusion and unnecessary distraction when designing these covers. So you have two layers, one guide and one design. If we turn on the design layer, you'll see we have a sample image that's done for a client and good friend of ours here at Pixelland by the name of Stereotype, a band out of Nashville, Tennessee. We're blessed to handle the rebranding and the design work for them for their new rollout. So you'll see a lot of their work throughout these templates as examples. So let's talk about the guides. The guide layer is simply there to give you an idea of what will be seen on which platform. What that means is when we view Facebook on a desktop computer, what we see for that cover art is going to be slightly different than what we see on a mobile device. So these arrows here, this 1640 by 624 resolution is what you'll see on the desktop when viewing that cover art on Facebook. This section here in white where it says mobile viewing space is all that you will see on a mobile device. So just keep that in mind when you're designing these covers. If there's something, I try to keep all my important information within the mobile viewing space. Even though you have a little more space on a desktop, I want everything important to be seen on both mobile and desktop, so I try to keep that in mind and try to keep it as simple as possible. So we're going to turn on the design layer and we're going to click the arrow here and open that group up. Right now we have a background color and a background image. This background image, like I mentioned before, is just a sample that we placed here to give you an idea of where things should be placed and how they're going to look for the finished product. So for right now, we're going to turn off that background image. We're going to click your background color, and let's say your brand colors are red and yellow for your brand. You know, you're obviously going to pick something that looks good for your background color, or you could just choose white. In this case, we're going to rebuild this sample image. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select my background color layer, and I'm going to go to File and Place. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to import a photograph from a photo shoot that the band Stereotype did recently, and that's what's going to give us this background image here. So I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to navigate to that photo. Actually, there's several photos in here. We might mix it up a little bit and do something a little bit different. So let's choose this one here. I'm just going to mix it up a bit. I'm going to scale that image all the way up. So right now, and hit enter. And I'm actually going to delete this layer, my sample image. So right now we've imported a photo and we've scaled it up into place that way that everything on all four sides is covered. Now right now you'll notice that there's one person here on the right hand side, on the screen right side, and one person on the left that's actually going to be out of the frame on a mobile device, which is something that you want to keep in mind. In this case, we're just going to go ahead with it for right now, but just keep that in mind that they will be seen on the desktop version, but they will be cropped out in the mobile, which you probably want to try to avoid. But in this case, you know, this is just a sample. So we drop that background image in, and right now we're still seeing the watermark of our resolution and mobile viewing space for the template. Just turn that off if you want to see the clean image. So we're going to turn that back on. And now for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a nice rectangle down here, and I'm going to put in the band's URL information so that it shows up on the Facebook covers website. I'm going to go to Effects, Blending Options. I'm going to add a stroke and a white stroke. I'm going to change the size from 13, which is the default, down to, let's say, 4. Now before we leave out of here, I'm going to go to the blending options, the default, and I'm going to drop down past general blending to advanced blending. I'm going to pull the fill opacity all the way down. That way it leaves us with nothing but a white outline. I'm going to hit OK. Now, I'm going to grab our text tool, and I'm going to click, well, you want to click outside of the square. If you click inside the square, it makes that square or that path an active object and allows you to type within it, but we want to be able to move that text around a little bit differently. So we're going to hit escape, we're going to undo, click our text tool and click somewhere away from that square. And then we're going to put in the web URL. Which is stereotypenation.com. A really good band. You guys got to check them out. We're going to change that font color to white, and we're going to change it from open sans is fine, bold to regular, and we're going to make this all caps. Now we're also going to go over here and adjust the tracking, and we want a little more space between each of the letters, each of the characters in this URL. So I'm going to try 500. I want it pretty spaced out. And then we're going to click and drag it down here. Just take a look at it. Let's see if let's go a little bit bigger with the text. Text a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to actually go even bigger with the tracking. There we go. Now, for this, in order to make this text pop out a little bit more, since we have a light background and a light text on top of that, I'm going to do a gradient, a dark gradient. I'm going to hit D to get my default color palette to come up, which is black and white. I'm going to click on the gradient editor, and I'm going to go to the second swatch, which allows us to do a gradient with one color. I'm going to go down below the box that we created. I'm going to form a new layer. Now I'm going to click just below this cover and drag straight up to about halfway. And that creates a linear gradient, which pushes the type away from the background and gives us some separation, since the type color is white and the background already is a very bright image. Now with that said, I'm going to turn off my guides and just take a look at everything. I like how that looks. So now I think I'm ready to save this out. Everything at this point is pretty much ready to go. These templates come at the exact resolution that you're going to need. It's actually a little bit higher resolution than you need, but I love to work at a higher resolution just in case, to avoid any kind of artifacting or blurring with low resolution images. You know, you can always scale an image down. It's a lot harder to scale an image up. So we're going to turn those guides off, and we're going to save this image. In our folder here, under captures, brand photos, we're just gonna leave it named the Pixelland Facebook cover template. I'm gonna change that to a JPEG and save. So at this point, you've technically completed the artwork for your Facebook cover. So now we're gonna jump over to Facebook. So if you go to your Facebook page, Facebook personal page or business page, these techniques, tools, and techniques are going to be the same for both. So in this case, we're going to change the Facebook cover. So we're going to click on the change cover icon that pops up when you hover your mouse over. And you get a few options here. You have choose from photos, choose from videos, upload photo, edit slideshow, or remove. Technically, we don't have a cover uploaded right now, so there's nothing to remove. So what we want to do is upload photo. Now we want to point to that file that we just created, to that photo we just made, which is Pixelland Facebook cover template. And we're going to hit open. Going to give it a second or two. And voila, just like that, everything should come in at the perfect resolution. There shouldn't be anywhere you can move it left or right, up and down, because we sized all the templates to be exactly what exactly what Facebook is looking for when you upload these images. And now you want to hit save. Give it a second. Now we locked in that image into our Facebook cover. So at that point, now you're ready to move on to the Facebook profile picture. Stay tuned.